Now, who exactly is building a gaming computer with an RTX 5050 in 2025? Like, come on, you could buy a better card. Now, I definitely agree. However, if for some reasons you want to build one, maybe because you don't really need a GPU, you just want to buy something brand new because you don't trust the used market, you want some warranty, and you need NVIDIA, also because AMD really, at least where I'm from in Italy at the moment, doesn't really have an answer for the 5050, even though I'm not sure they want to give an answer for it. But that aside, you may want to get this card. And in this case over here, this PC is not really meant for gaming. It's more meant for productivity. We have a Ryzen 7 9700X, so not an entry-level CPU, even though it's not expensive at all. So here I am telling you guys how, if you're actually gonna do it, how you can do it well, and how you can capitalize on having this GPU in your system to save some money somewhere else. Because listen, this is a GPU which doesn't draw any power, doesn't put out any heat, and it is very quiet, very small. So there are some benefits to it, but if you plan on ever upgrading your PC in the future, you cannot overlook other aspects of it. So with that said, let's get started and let's see how I made this build. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's a Ryzen 7 9700X build, and it is based on a B850 from MSI, fully white just for aesthetics reasons, and also because motherboards sometimes go on discounts, and I prefer to get motherboards on discounts rather than motherboards which are too expensive but match the theme. And in the end, I end up justifying my purchase choices by just saying, hey, look, white is in contrast. It looks nice. But with that aside, I then got some XPG RAM 6000 MHz. You do want to get 6000 MHz RAM for Ryzen. Can't stress this enough. I know you guys know it probably if you watch the channel, but I see 90% of my clients who still get this wrong on the entry level. They think, let me save 20 bucks on the RAM and get some 4800 MHz RAM, and they lose like 20% CPU performance by doing that. Please get 6000 MHz and get the lowest latency you can. This stuff from XPG is decent. Okay, it's not the best RAM. I bought it because it was cheap. Something else which was cheap was the cooler I chose. So this build is all Xilinx. Now, if you're in Europe, Xilinx is a great brand to buy because they make cheap stuff which works. Okay, looks nice, works well, and it is very quiet. This is basically the review already finished for the cooler, but that's basically it. One caveat I have for the cooler is the fans are not pre-installed, so you do have to actually, screw them in. But the benefit to it is if you're gonna mount them on the front, you don't have to undo them and redo them. But I think they should come pre-mounted for the top personally. With that said, I put this LQ240 ARGB all-in-one water cooler into this case, which is the Silent Beam. It's the commercial name. The actual name is Xilinx X218. Okay, in case you're looking for it online. I will try to leave links to everything down below. And I went with the usual Kingston NV3 1TB drive for the SSD. I think at the moment there is no brand competing with Kingston. Basically, this NV3 is a drive which is 6000 megabytes per second, so it's not capping out at Gen 4 speed at 7400 megabytes per second. But doing that, it doesn't get hot, so you can even run it without heatsink. It's so much cheaper than the competition. You're not gonna see the extra 1000 megabytes per second needed. So in this case, I just also bought a 10 bucks, like 9 bucks, Xilinx CPU cooler just to make it look pretty and add some extra RGB to the white motherboard, but you don't have to do it because the SSD is cool enough, but since this is gonna be a productivity build, I figured, some extra cooling is gonna be good. I then bought an Asus RTX 5050 because I found it for MSRP, and this card is actually very good. It is not overpriced like usual Asus products, and it has a BIOS switch on it. I was mind blown. I will have a full review out for the GPU. And I also added some fans to the case I mentioned, the aforementioned case. Now this case, okay, it may look like the average aquarium case, and it really is. It looks the same, but it is fully mesh on the bottom, and the way you mount it is so much better than like cheap cases you find online, no-name brands or with made-up names on Amazon, which I buy for my really low budget builds. Like, I'm guilty of saving the extra 10 bucks to get the cheapest, but this case, super cheap. You can find it for the price of one of those lower-end cases. Again, the only issue with Xilinx is distribution, because you guys tell me outside of Europe you can't get this stuff, but if you can get it, it's so well priced that it's worth it. And the same can be said for the power supply. So for the power supply, I got this XP750R12 power supply, which is called Xilinx Gold, but it's not 80 plus gold. It's just cold gold. But they claim it has a very good efficiency, and I've had like 8 of these units, and not a single one of them has failed on me. But besides, with a 5050, you could go with the cheapest PSU and you would be fine. But the reason we went a little bit over is because, first of all, this power supply, I paid it the same as like a 80 plus gold 550 watts PSU because you save on the certification. Then it's RGB. No, but jokes aside, this way we have some headroom for a better GPU in the future, because there's a difference between having a budget and just building a cheap computer where the PSU is right on the edge, the case doesn't really have cooling. This is a PC on a budget, but where you can easily slot in 5070, 5070 Ti even, no problem, and just make it go fast because the CPU is good, it is well cooled. I will show you guys the Prime 5 result, and everything runs properly. Not only that, but even with the 5050, okay, check out the stock Firestrike score. This is actually pretty good. I was expecting a lot worse, I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is, if you overclock this GPU, as I show on the channel, I will have a tutorial on the channel on how to overclock 5050. Basically, you're gonna get 20% more performance easily on air if you sum up GPU memory overclock. And this thing can game at 1080p. Like Apex Legends, we're doing high FPS. I'm showing you the gameplay right now. And even on Warzone, you can play very well, which also means you can play most single-player titles with decent details very well, and you can play literally any esport title. So maybe we should all build RTX 5050 gaming PCs. No, the thing is, PC gaming has gone so far ahead that even the cheapest modern GPU is going to do a good job of gaming if you have the right CPU and if your PC is tweaked properly. So that's basically the conclusion, and this is just a short budget build on how to build an RTX 5050 gaming PC if you really have to. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please drop a like and a comment, tell me which tips you have for me, what should I change, and see you guys in the next one. Maybe drop a follow, maybe. Bye bye.